Hello friends, welcome to this channel. This session is going to be very important for some fundamentals. So stay tuned till the end of this video. Okay? So guys, this is going to be an intro to shell scripting and this is a pure beginner guide. So if you have done any kind of shell scripting with Bash or any other dialect, you will probably know everything that I am about to show you, but feel free to watch as a refresher. For those you that don't really know what a shell scripting is, it's basically a program designed to run in the Unix shell. Now, we can run Unix commands on a Mac or on a Linux or on Windows using something like Gatebase or the Windows Linux subsystem. So, we can list contents of a directory and we can create files with like touch and all. But this video is not entirely based on this topic. So in this video, I want to deal with actual scripting because you can run scripts from within your shell. So that's what we are gonna do. Now, as far as you know, do you need this now? This is very important in the world of like sysadmin or IT. You should really know this stuff in web development. It's not that important unless you are really heavy into like DevOps or managing Linux servers, things that like that. Then you should know this stuff. But even if you are like a front end developer or a full stack developer, you should know the basic because you may come across it. And my job is to just give you guys as much information as I can so that when you run into this stuff, you at least are not completely lost and you know you are not like what the hell is .sh file. Okay, so we are just going to create a cheat sheet that you can put somewhere on your hard drive and keep it there whenever you want. So you can do that. Okay, and it's kind of just a fun little video if you want to follow along. All right, so let's see. Before we start, let's talk about little bit about what bash is. In case you don't know, bash is basically a dialect of a shell syntax called the bone shell. There is the bone shell, there is the C shell, and this syntaxes have different dialects, and bash is one of them. There is also like ZSH, there is some other ones as well, but bash is basically the standard. Okay, so when you start up your system and you open up your terminal, that's base. Alright, so what we are gonna do here is I am in a folder here called shell scripting, and as you can see I did ls and there is nothing in it. So I'm gonna create a file using touch and called my script, and I'm gonna give it .sh extension. Okay, so .sh extension is basically the extension for the Bourne shell script. So now you can see I have that file here. Now what I want to do is open this file with any kind of text editor. I am gonna use Visual Studio Code because I use Visual Studio Code for maybe everything, but you can open with anything that you can edit text. So okay, so we are gonna open up that file, and from now on I am gonna use my integrated terminal down here. Before we try and run this file, before we put anything in it, we try to running it. I just want to make it executable because by default if we run it, we are probably gonna get a permission denied error. So to do that we would just want to use the chmod command, change mode, and we want to do plus, so we want to add x, which is executable permission, and then the name of the file, which is myscript.sh. All right, so once we do that, we should be able to run the file, and to run the file we just do dot slash myscript dot sh, and of course it's not going to do anything because we have nothing in here. All right, the first thing that we want to put is basically a declaration of the dialect we are using, which is base. Okay, so now if we go down here and into our command line, and I'm going to clear this, and I'm going to just say which and say base, and this is going to show me where base is on our system. So which my default is bin slash base. So if you are using like windows with something like git base, and it will probably be something different, but we are going to go to the top of our file. So let's do something very simple. We are just going to echo something out, and now before I do that, I'm just gonna put a comment, and in comment are just use number sign. Okay, so we are just gonna say echo command, and we are just going to simply say echo, and I will echo out, let's say hello world. All right, so we will save that, and let's go down here, and we will run it with dot slash myscript dot sh, and it echoes out hello world. All right, so you have officially created your first base script. Now we can also create variables. So let's go down here, and I'm just gonna kind of label everything, so that when I create list kind of document, I like to just clearly label everything that we are doing. So variable by convention should be uppercase. So we are gonna say uppercase by convention, and what that means is that it's not mandatory to lowercase variable will work out, but it is the norm to use uppercase. So that's what you should do as far as. So what's allowed in variable, it's letter, numbers, and underscore. Okay, and to create a variable we can simply just say let's create one called name, and we will set it to bread. Okay, so that's how we can create a variable. Then we can go ahead and do another echo, and I will say my name is. Now if I just do name, it's just gonna say my name is name. To actually reference a defined variable, you want to use the money sign in front of it, right here. And then let's go ahead and run this, and we get my name is bread. Okay, and you also might see this syntax, so the money sign with curly braces, so it's kind of like a javascript literal but variable. And but if I go ahead and run that, we should get the same things. All right, so that's variable. Now you can also deal with user input. So if you wanted to have a user put something in, and then use whatever they type in, you could use read. So read dash p, we want to prompt the user, and we will just say enter your name and put a colon here, and then right here we want a variable that's gonna represent whatever they put in, right? And I'm just gonna comment this name variable, and so now whatever they type in, we can use name as the data. So let's say echo, and we will say hello, a money sign, name, nice to meet you. Okay, so go ahead and run the file. And so if we'll say bread and we get hello bread, nice to meet you. All right, so that's user input, and we will revisit that. We will use some user input again down below. So next thing is I want to look at this is what is condition. So okay, so we will start off with a simple if statement. So for an if statement, we are gonna say if, and then we are gonna open up some brackets with some spaces, and let's actually uncoming the name variable, and we will just say if, and we want to use quote here, and if name is double equals to, let's say, bread. Now here we want to put a word, then, and then whatever we want to do, so we will just echo out. We will say your name is bread. So now to end the if statement, it's kind of weird, but we do if backward. So fi. Okay, so let's save that and let's go down here and clear this up, and we will run it, and we get your name is bread. All right, so that's simple, very simple if statement. Now what I'm gonna do is copy this and then comment it out, and I want to do an if else. Okay, so I will paste that in, and then under the echo let's put an else, and then let's echo your name is not bread. All right, so we will save that, and then what I will do is change the name to, let's say Jack, and then we will run our script, and we get your name is not bread. So very simple. Now we can also do an else if, and actually it's called elif statement. So I'm going to just copy this and comment it out, and let's say put a command here. We will say else if, also called elif, paste that in. Now let's say after we check to see if the name is bread. Before the else, we also want to check. So well, we will say elif bracket. We also want to check to see if the name is equals to, let's say Jack. All right, and then we want to put then, and then whatever we want to do, which in the case we will say your name is Jack. All right, and then in else we will say your name is not bread or Jack. Okay, so let's go ahead and run that, and we get your name is Jack. If I were to put something else in here like Bob and run it, we get your name is not Brad or Jack. Alright, so something very simple. Now let's talk a little bit about comparison. Okay, so and I know I'm going a little bit fast, but if you guys know any programming languages at all, this is very basic. It is just if else if. So let's talk about comparison. We have some basically like operators we can work with. Okay, so up here we just did it. We just did if something is equals to something, but I'm gonna paste something in right here, just a block of comments, and we can use for instance dash eq to see if values are equal, any to see if they are not equal, gt to see if they are greater than. So we can use this inside of if statement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a couple of variable. Let's say num1 and let's set that to 3, and then we will say num2 and we will set that to 5. All right, and then what I'm going to do is just I will just type it out, and so we will say if, let's say if number 1 is, let's say greater than 2. So in between we have to write GT, and it's actually right here. So say then, and will echo out num1 is greater then num2, else let's echo out num1 is less than num2. Okay, and then we want to end that with fi. So let's go ahead and save that and let's run it. So we get 3 is less than 5, which of course is true. Let's add 1 to it, so this will make num1 is to 31. Save it and run it, or run our command, and it's a 31 is greater than 5. All right, so you can use any of this in your logic. All right, so next thing I want to look at is file conditions. Okay, so I'm gonna paste another block of comments in here, another block of information. So and basically we can look at file in our directory and see if it is a file, if it is exit, if it is readable, if the user ID is set on the file, if it is writable, if it is executable thing like that. And we can use like dash d, dash e, all these flags. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable called file and set it to let's say test.txt, and this could be any file, and then I'm just gonna say if, and then let's use dash f, which is going to check to see if it is a file, and we just want to put in here the variable. Okay, so if that, then let's echo and we will say file is a file, else let's echo file is not file, and then we will just end the if. Okay, now if I go ahead and run this, you guys probably know what is gonna happen. So save that and let's run this again. So we get test.txt is not a file, which is true because it does not even exist. And now let's create that file. So we will just say touch test.txt, and as you can see up here, that file was created. So now if we run this, we got test.txt is a file. Okay, if I were to delete that, and we can delete it with, we can say rm test.txt, and that will delete it. And then let's create a folder. We will say make directory or mkdir test.txt. Okay, now this is not a file, so if we run our script, we will see it's not a file. But if we put an e here, which is just test to see if it exists, let's say exist, and then we will say here does not exist. So if we run this, it does exist. Okay, so not a file, it's a folder, but it does exist. All right, so you can see we can use these different flags here. All right, so enough with that. Now let's move on to case. statement which are basically like switches. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make it a little more interesting, and we are going to take some user input, and we are going to take a look at what they put in and then respond to it. So let's say read dash p. Okay, we want to prompt them, and we are gonna say, are you 21 or over? We are gonna say answer yes or no, or y or no, y or n. And then when they put in their answer, it's going to get put in a variable called answer. Okay, so and then that's what we want to run the case statement on. So we are gonna say case answer in, and then right here is basically we are gonna add some test cases. So if they put in lowercase y or an uppercase y, or they put in the word yes, which we can do like this. So another set of brackets, we want it to be case insensitive. That's why I put in the lowercase and the uppercase. And then at the end of this line, we want to put a closing parenthesis, which I know looks a little weird. This is not really something you see very often, but this is required. And that's going to be the first case. If they put in any case of y or the word yes in any case, so then what do we want to do is we want to echo out. Let's just say echo out, you can have a beer, and smiley face. So smiley face is very important. And then we want to end this with a double semicolon. Okay, and then the next one, next case we want to check, or next whatever input they put in, we want a lowercase and uppercase n or the word no. So another set of brackets, parenthesis, and let's echo sorry, no drinking. Okay, and then we will end this with double semicolon. All right, now here I'm going to end. I'm actually gonna put an star and then an ending parenthesis, and then right here is what's going to happen if they don't put either one of this. So in this case we are gonna say echo, and let's say please enter y or n, or yes or no. Okay, and then we will put our double semicolon, and then we will to close the case with just like the if statement is just case backward. So that should be asked the question, allow us to either put y or yes, n or no. All right, so let's make sure we save this, and let's clear this up down, and here we will run our script. Go ahead and answer this. So are you 21 or over? We will say yes or y, and maybe we get you can have a beer. Okay, let's run again. Let's say no, sorry, no drinking. Let's say none of your business. It will say please enter yes or no. Okay, so simple as that to create a case statement and integrate user input. Alright, so now we are gonna take a look at loops. So before I forget, I'm just going to comment that out, and let's look at a simple for loop. Basically, what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna create a variable called names, and I'm just gonna put in here a couple of names. We'll say Brad, Kevin, Alex, and Mark. Okay, So we got a bunch of names, and what I want to do is just loop through this name. So I'm going to say for name. So I am creating a variable with the for loop called name. Basically for each iteration and in and then we want that name variable. So we want to say names. Okay. So and then we just want to do and we will say do, and then let's do echo and we will just say hello to each name. And so we will say hello name. Now we want to money sign, and we want the money sign because they are actually using the variable, and then we just want to do done. Okay, so we will go ahead and let's clear this up. And to clear this, I'm doing control L, so remember it. We will run our script and it goes through their names and just say hello to each person. All right, very simple. Next thing I want to do is I'm gonna use a for loop again, but I want to do something a little bit more interesting. Let's go ahead and rename some files. Alright, so I'm going to go down and to my command line and create a couple of files. So I'm going to say touch 1.txt, 2.txt, and then 3.txt. So if I run, then you can see up here on the left side we have three txt files. So let's put a comment here and we will say for loop to rename files. So we are going to create a variable, say files, and basically we want to put here a money sign and in some parentheses, and we want to list all the text files. So star dot txt, this is basically like a wildcard, so anything that has the txt extension is gonna get put in here. And then we are gonna create a variable called new and just set that to the text new, because what I want to do is rename each one new and then whatever the current file name is. So let's do for file, that will be our iteration variable in files, and then we are gonna say do, and as we are renaming them we are go ahead and echo out renaming file to new and then file. All right, and then to actually do the rename we are going to use the mv command. So we are going to say file and then new dash file. Okay, and that should be it. So we want to say done and save, and let's clear this up and run it. We want to run our my script and we get renaming 123.txt. And now we look up here, you can see that they are renamed as new dash 1, new dash 2, and new dash 3. Alright, so imagine if you had like 500 files you want to rename, this would obviously save your a little time. So it's good for stuff like this. This is what a shell scripting is, and it's really good for this. Alright, so let's comment that out. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you a while loop, but I want to do something a little bit interesting. So, we are going to read through a file line by line. Okay, now none of our file have anything in them. So I'm going to open up new dash 1 and I'm just gonna put some sample text. So just put a couple of paragraph, okay, and we will put that inside the txt file and save it and close it all right now. And inside our while loop, actually before we do that, let's create a variable called line. This is basically like the index or the iteration. We are gonna start at line 1 and then let's say while read dash r. So read and then current underscore line. And so we are basically creating this variable to use, and then we are going to say do, and we want to echo out. Let's echo out the line colon and then current line. Okay, current line is going to actually be the text of the line. Okay, now we have to increment this by 1. So down here, now let's put in double parenthesis, and we are going to say line plus plus. That will increment by it by 1. So and then we want to do done. Now since we are actually reading from a file, we want to put a less than and then the name of the file. So we are gonna do dot slash new dash 1 dot txt. Okay, so we will save this. So make sure all this commented out, and we will go to down here and clear this out, and let's run it. And there we go. So it's gonna print out each line with the line number. Okay, so we started with 1 and then it's just gonna go to the next line. So 2 3 4, and as you can see it actually counting the white space. Okay, so that is a while loop. Now let's take a look at a simple functions. Okay, so we can have function just like we can in any real language. So function, and this is gonna be a very familiar syntax for anyone that knows any language really. So we will say say hello, and then let's echo out hello world, and then of course we have to run it. So we will say hello like that, and we let's clear this up and save it and run it, and we get hello world. Alright, so it looks just like a JavaScript function or a PHP function or something like that. Alright, so what if we wanted parameters? So let's comment this out, and let's say function with params. So we will call this greet, and let's say echo. And now we are not going to do like name and age like you might expect it. We are going to use that what are called positional parameters. So the first one will be money sign 1, and the second one will be money sign 2, and so on. So we are gonna say hello, I am a money sign 1 and I am money sign 2. Okay, so that's our function. Now to call it, we can say greet, and then we are going to provide our parameters. So the first one will say bread, and the second one is gonna be 26. We will save that and let's run it. So we get hello, I am Brad and I am 26. Right? So it just look their positional parameters. Alright, so that's pretty much it, guys. Okay, so you can imagine just the things you can do within your file system by writing a script file. Okay, so you can save yourself a lot of time if you do like respective tasks, stuff like that. And all right, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I know it's something that's a little different, but if you have any doubt, then feel free to ask in the comment section below. We will be happy to clear your doubt. Thank you for watching. Bye and have a nice day.